Alrighty, starting off our list today at number 90 is the Dresden Files cooperative card game. I can't speak properly. Let's see what's in the box. It's actually not a bad little puzzle solve cooperative card game. So of course it's cooperative, you can play it solo if you like. It's got a pretty cool board where you lay out basically the story that you're playing. And the stories are of course the Jim Butcher novels, so that's kind of what it looks like there. And you have characters, so we can look at Harry Dresden here, and they have cards that have certain abilities. The artwork's pretty cool. Yeah, and my battery's going dead, of course. So just give me 1 second, I'll come right back. Alright, what else do you get in the box? So basically you have your characters. So there's, of course, Harry Dresden, there's Karen Murphy. They're all from the novels. They're all different characters you can play cooperatively. And then you get into the actual novels themselves. So say Stormfront tells you how to, set everything up. Got some really nice cards that come with the game. And they have, of course, obstacles, and they have things you can get. And you randomly shuffle these up. You have enemies you have to defeat, and it tells you how many hits, and so on. And basically the gist of the game is you're going to set everything out on the board. You're going to have a limited number of cards in your hand to try and defeat everything. If you can clear the board off, you win the game. And of course, if you don't, you lose. Alright, that's my number 90, which is Dresden Files, a cooperative card game. Alright, coming in the number 89 spot for my countdown is... it's a small game, Dungeon Roll. This is basically a dice press your luck game. Oh boy, I don't know if I can get everything out of here, but it's just a little treasure chest full of exciting things. You've got the Minotaur, you've got all kinds of, again, some nice artwork on here. Gives you the backstories, and I forget exactly all the details here, but the dice are so nice. These beautiful little colored dice. These, of course, are representing your different heroes you can activate. The gist of the thing is you're trying to go down deeper and deeper in the dungeon. You have a dungeon die, and to get down to the dragon, the person that collects the most treasure and points by the end of the game. If you're playing cooperative or competitively, we'll win. I don't want to dump everything out of here because it'll be a big mess. But yeah, so that's the gist. I've done a playthrough of this as well. I've done a playthrough of everything on my list today. If you want to check that out. So that is my number 89. Little dice pressure luck game, very cool, Dungeon Roll. Alright, making it to number 88 on my list of 100 top board games that I enjoy, that I've ranked, is Lord of the Rings. This, yes, and just ignore the box. I had to use a rune-bound box, and I glued the, anyway, because of a cat incident. We'll just leave it at that. So, and I don't have cats. It wasn't me. So this is Lord of the Rings. Awesome, a landmark in gaming history. It is actually a very interesting game. This is the original version of it too. I just want to tell you about that. I do have the expansion, Friends and Foes. I think there's another expansion which I don't have. But I mean, it's got a beautiful, I think it's John Howe. Yes, John Howe artwork all throughout. And boy, these boards are just cool. Like, look at that. That's beautiful. And you basically go through the game. You're trying to go through the different areas. You've got little miniatures, which are really cool. And once again, my battery. I don't know. I have a couple of flaky batteries. I got to change it. We're going to come back, take a look at some of these components, and then wrap it up for number 88. Alright, back with a fresh battery. So it's basically a hand management game where you've got different symbols on the cards that you collect. And I mean, I don't know, I praise this version of the game. The new version is just, honestly, the only thing that's not so good about this version is this ring, which is, looks like the donut that's been run over by a truck. But anyway, you've got, these are really cool little miniatures for the different hobbits. Yes, you can play up to 5. Fatty Bolger is one of the other ones. Very, very unique. Little sort of puzzly game. Like I said, you have to get all the way through to Mount Doom. Destroy the ring. Can you do it? I don't know. But anyway, very, very interesting little game. Very tough. Did a playthrough as well on my channel if you want to check it out. That's my number 88, Lord of the Rings. Alright, finding its way to spot number 87 on my list is the Starfarers of Catan. It's basically Settlers of Catan in space. So take a look at this beast. It's got some really cool components, which had some issues, of course. Game rules are on this huge box. Everyone's got, it's one of these nice cards, space on the back. And here we go into all the components. So these are little booster rockets you get. These are little guns you add to your ship. These are the different resources in the game. Got some nice oversized cards that basically give you a bunch of choices as to what do you want to do. Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? When you're flying around in space, these are the rings that go on your ship. So let's take a look at one of the ships. Ugh. And the board is pretty huge. Pretty huge. So I'm not going to unfold it all, but it's very big. All right, this is I guess the coolest part of this game are these ships. And you basically give the ship a shake and boom, out the bottom comes a couple colored balls. And that basically dictates what you can do on your turn. And you've got all kinds of, so these are all the little bases you can build in the game. You know, if you make it like a star base, you put a ring on it, different colors. Absolutely cool production, but there were some issues with things breaking when you're trying to snap them on the ships. And anyway, that is my number 87 game. It's actually a lot of fun. Had some player count issues. I would suggest probably the full count, up to 4, I believe it is. And there you go. That's my number 87, Starfarers of Catan. Number 86 on my list, I have not done a playthrough of yet, but I plan to eventually, and that is H.P. Lovecraft's Kingsport Festival. Well, what is this? It says it's a frightening festival awaits you in the town, created by the gentleman from Providence. Alright, let's take a look. Yeah, very cool. Very Lovecraftian. And you're thinking, well, what is this? Well, it's basically a game where you're trying to get as many points as possible. And you have Kingsport here with the different locations. I'm not going to unfold this map. It's huge! And different colored dice for each different players. And you've got chips that go out on newsroom expansion. You may spend a magic to gain this, that, or the other. So, yeah, all kinds of really nice components in here. The cards are actually quite beautiful and well done. And then, of course, you have things that you can collect, guns and such. So basically, it is Kingsport of the game, but it is set in, not Kingsport, Kingsport the game, what am I saying? Set in the Lovecraftian universe, and these are, of course, the locations you can go to. So it's a very huge table hog, because you have to place all of these out. And so if you go to this location, you'll end up, getting this. So if you roll a 3 on your die, you can go out here, and so on and so forth, until you get to, some of the nasty, nasty guys. So it's basically Lovecraftian Kingsport in a box. So that's my number 86, and that will be Kingsport Festival, which I plan to do at some point in time on my channel. Alright, number 85 on my list is Red November. It's basically a fantastic game. A frantic game of survival on a gnomish submarine. It has sort of a really interesting variable turn order. Of course, things can start on fire on the submarine. Your gnomes are running around, closing doors, putting out fires, putting out all kinds of problems. It's got a really bizarre turn order, but yeah, it's actually cool. So you basically have your yellow submarine, and you have tracks of doom, of course. And again, component-wise, pretty nice. Got your little gnomes, can run around, lots of cards in the game. So you'll be picking up things like crowbars, gain a +3 bonus to unlock a blocked hatch kind of thing. Advance the pressure track by 1. And so you're basically, submarine's in trouble. You are trying to save it before, you get destroyed. Of course, a little 10-sided die. And there you go. So that's my number 85 game on my top 100 countdown. And that'll be Red November. Alright, on we go. Now we're down to game number 84 on my list. I'm going to try and slide this giant box over here, and it is, if you can see that, Escape the Dark Castle. I do have the box that holds all the expansions and stuff that came with it. And I have them all. So I have the Night Pack 1, I have 2 and 3 as well. So basically what you're doing here is you wake up in rags and you're trying to get out of the castle alive. You have to fight a boss at the end. You can only carry so much stuff. Of course, you get a little pad of paper to track your health. And of course, other trackers and such. And you have little skulls. This is all this sort of advanced stuff. You don't get this in the base game. And of course it comes with pencils because you got to keep track of things. So what do? So you basically have a overview. You can read that if you want. So you finally wake up in your cell and you manage to escape. And then you go through a whole pile of different adventures, flipping over so many cards. You can run into, you know, things trying to kill you. You can run into more things trying to kill you, and yet more things trying to kill you. And there's symbols and stuff on here. What do you do with that? Well, of course, you're going to be rolling dice because trying to escape. And you got these really cool chunky dice with lots of different symbols on them. They're nice and big and really clear. So you get, you know, if you're the Mason, you play the Mason, you get this die, you get a double shield, and you know, etc., etc. Here's your different characters. So the Miller gets, you know, this is his stats, and you got the Smith, and you got Tanner. So these people are all trying to escape the dungeon and stay alive. So that's my number, I believe it was, yes, 84, and that is Escape the Dark Castle, which is all glowy, and oh, that's maybe a little better. Escape the Dark Castle, number 84. Alright, up next on my list, number 83 is, if you know I'm partial to deck builders, it is Star Trek, the original series deck building game. Now I'm going to lump this in with the Next Generation one, which I don't have. I just can't find it anywhere. I think it's so long out of print. Good luck with that. But I do really enjoy Next Generation, and I do enjoy the original series one a lot. What do we do in this game? Wow, you go through a lot of stuff. And of course you get a 20-sided die tracking ship health and stuff. And as you can see, it's just a giant pile of cards. I have a solo variant. Let's have a look at some of these. You pull these out. And of course I got them all sleeved in nice sleeves. So, you know, you got your characters. And they have all special abilities on the bottom. Sorry about the glare there. And on and on and on. And on and on and on. And you start out with a basic hand. You get like a tricorder and such. So the gist is there's a whole bunch of missions that you're trying to go on to get points to win. And your ship has so many hit points. And if you lose all your hit points on your ship, I think it blows up. And I think you reset. I can't remember exactly. But I have done a playthrough on this. Again, all the artwork from the original series. Pretty cool game. That's my number 83 on my list. That is Star Trek, the deck building game. Original series. I would also lump in Next Generation with this as well. So that's number 83. On we go now to 82. Alright, coming in at 82 is a big box game. And that is, as I slide it over, Conan. Conan the Barbarian. I don't have any expansion, so I just have this base game, which, oh my god, I'm telling you, is enough. So get the lid off there, and huge manual with beautiful artwork. And yeah, as you can see, there is an absolute mountain of tokens and overlay kits and dice, and it's a very involved game, which is actually has some pretty cool stuff. And again, look at the amount of miniatures that come in this thing. It is just ridiculous. It is a table hog of epic proportions. So you have this giant playmat that you need to do, and of course it has the beautiful boards where you're going to be playing out the different missions, and of course you have a giant snake enemy. And here's your basic cards, your characters, and you have so many abilities, you're rolling different dice, and it costs you energy, I think it is, to perform actions to do these things. I've done a playthrough of this if you want to have a look at it. So this, oh boy, epic, huge game filled with just a mountain of stuff, and there's, I forget how many scenarios, maybe half a dozen or more. So that's my number 82 game, Conan. And up last for today's list, number 81. My top 100 is Zombicide. Fake joke. Night of the Living Dead. So Zombicide, Night of the Living Dead. Let's get the box off this. I've done 3 playthroughs of this now. I'm going to be doing another one, I guess, sometime soon. So you basically, there's a set number of characters, and that's it in the game. So unlike the other Zombicide games where you can have 9,000 different characters, pretty much, in this one you have like Ben, Harry, Barbara, etc. It's got the same tracks as the Zombicide. There's all kinds of cards. There's not as many cards in this game as there are in the other Zombicide games. Comes, of course, with always nicely done cool miniatures for the different zombie types. And every character comes with a Romero mode. And so in gray and a Zombicide mode, and they have different abilities. So if you're in Romero mode, you got this abilities, and if you're Zombicide, you get a color picture and you get more abilities. There's things to do. So it's basically scenarios that you have to go through. There's 9 of them, and you're just going to continue until you either escape or die. And that is my number 81, the end of our list for today, Zombicide Night of the Living Dead. Alright, up next will be another complete playthrough, and then after I do another complete playthrough of a game, we'll go back to our list again. We'll be counting down, I guess, 80 to 71. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.